The honourable member for York South-Weston regarding rail transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the events in Lac-Megantic over 18 months ago have caused the Canadian public to wonder just how safe our railroads are. Many communities, like mine in York South-Weston, grew up around railroads, as the railroad was a key driver of economic growth for communities. Alas, that economic driver has long since left my community, but the railroad tracks remain. And they are perilously close to houses, schools, daycares, seniors' facilities, and other sensitive locations throughout the riding, and indeed the whole of the City of Toronto. Railroads began shipping crude oil in quantity in 2009 and have increased that amount over 500-fold since then. This means that trains with several hundred carloads of crude oil whiz through our neighbourhoods several times each day. Until Lac-Megantic, people didn't pay much attention to it. We thought of crude oil as the sticky tar we saw on television on beaches after Exxon Valdez or the BP spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Who knew that it was more like gasoline and that the effect of an accident could be so deadly? When we learned in committee that even carloads traveling as slow as 20 kilometers an hour ruptured and exploded at Lac-Megantic, I demanded action from this government. The scathing report of the Transportation Safety Board, which found no one individual at fault but 18 different causes, including massive failure by Transport Canada, which reports to the Minister of Transportation. They then recommended, the Transportation Safety Board, that alternate speeds and routes be explored to move trains around major cities, one of many recommendations. This is done routinely in U.S. cities like Washington and New York. The government's response was to lower speeds to 60 kilometers per hour in cities and demand that the railroads do risk assessments and an analysis of alternate routes to be provided to Transport Canada. Well, the results of those government-demanded risk assessments and route analyses were provided to Transport Canada last fall, and at the committee, I asked Transport Canada to provide a copy of those assessments to the committee as part of our study of the transportation of dangerous goods. The City of Toronto also requested copies of those reports. Imagine my surprise, not, when Transport Canada replied to the committee that they would not release the risk assessments, as they are somehow the property of the railroads and are somehow protected confidential information. Mr. Speaker, these reports and assessments were demanded of the railroads by this government as a necessary part of the determination of the level of risk those railroads are exposing the population to. The government can and should treat these reports as publicly available information, should have clearly indicated this to the railroads when it was demanded. To suggest now that residents of my riding or of any riding through which a railroad runs can't know what the potential risk that railroad places them under based on speed, routing, and the use of rail cars with a long history of rupture is an affront and is an unacceptable situation. To suggest, as the Parliamentary Secretary has done, that Transport Canada will only share notices and orders issued to the railroads with municipalities does not deal at all with the need for individuals and indeed municipalities to know specifically what risk there is, what mitigation is available, such as rerouting and speed reduction, and any other information which may be disclosed by a risk assessment. Residents of York South-Weston and beyond have learned that Transport Canada has not been a very good steward of the safety of Canadians. The Transportation Safety Board and the Auditor General were highly critical of the actions of Transport Canada. We deserve to see the evidence, and until they have proven themselves worthy of our trust, we need to see these risk assessments. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.